Tony's right. Okay, so I'm starting this video over. I was going to just pause it. Whew, God. But I was like, if you pause it for a certain amount of time, then it stopped, and I didn't want to come back up here and it hit stop, so it would have meant I had to like stitch videos together, and y'all know I don't do that. So yeah. Okay, so gonna do the. It's a lot going on here. Okay. So this video is about me getting a new planner. So if you guys have seen the video, I was trying to figure out what planner I wanted to use or what book I wanted to use for my planner, because thesis year for me, I want to have all my stuff together. I want to be on it. I want to have I just want to be as organized as possible. And I use this book for my classes, like taking notes and things like that. So I've steered away from how I used to do college with like the notebook and the spiral notebooks and stuff like that. I don't do that no more. So how I operate is I regularly just like plain notebook, not a composition book, but a plain notebook that I can use and go from there. And that's my planners. I write down my calendar, to-do list, and stuff like that. So it's a catch-all kind of book. I will show you what I used to use. And yeah, so I used to get books like this, right? The very calendar books. And I really like the designs. I like this, but I never felt like I used it to the capacity that you use a calendar kind of book. So I would start stuff, like I would have like little tasks on this side, and I would do the calendar, and I would cross out days, and I would plan stuff or not plan stuff, as you can see, but I never really stuck with it, and so it would always end up being a waste of a purchase, because this is roughly $40 and I wouldn't use it even halfway through the year. Another thing for me is that I don't understand why calendars go from August of one year to December of the next, or August to August, July to July. I don't understand why it's not just the calendar year. I don't know why it's like the academic year, fiscal year type things. Like, I'm very confused as to how we ended up with planners that look like this, that start in like August of a year, like mid-year, and then we go to the end of the next year. Like, I'm so confused about like planners. So it's also one of those things where like it's harder and harder to find just a calendar year planner, and it turns me off from using them. So I bought this and I didn't really use it. So yeah. I have a few books that I'm going to show examples of, like what I kind of use to write and things like that. So this is a Kate Spade book I've used to write probably a few things. Oh, this is like, okay, I had like my business planning type thing with my emails and stuff like that in there. So generally books like this, maybe hardcover, they may be soft cover, and I use them for planners. This is one. Would use it as a planner. Didn't necessarily do it. It was like finances. My plan to be an attorney. But books like this. Books like this on Moleskine. Type things. It's just when I was like trying to do things like language. I guess I was preparing to learn language, please. So there's that. But those are the types of notebooks that I end up using throughout the year, because I write down the notes for the class. I do little sidebars and all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of where I ended up going in terms of my like planner for the year. It's like my notebook planner catch-all dump book kind of scenario. So that is kind of what I do. In terms of a planner for me, I stay away now from the spirals just because I don't like the capacity of the book to rip like pages. Like I don't want pages that rip while I'm writing. Like this one is pretty sturdy because it's also a sketchbook for actual art, so it has to be sturdier. But for like books that are like notebooks that you're writing in, like paper and stuff like that, like they tend to be relatively weak, and so you can just pull them out with like minimal fuss. Like you can just be leaning a certain way when you're writing and rip out the page, and now it looks messy to me, and it looks nasty and unorganized, and then I just want to throw the whole shit out. So there's that. So there were a few books that I was debating, and I'm going to show you the one that I chose. This is not the one that I chose, but this is a book that I have. It's a little mini one, and this is kind of how I use my books to plan out things that I want, and I like using mini books like this in my purse, in my bag. I also like books that don't like have lines, that do have lines, and don't have the dots on them. I just find that the dots are a little bit infuriating for me, just because I'm not a bullet journal kind of person, so I don't need that. I don't need the dots to like make grids and boxes and stuff like that. Like this works pretty well, and I can do a blank page, but I do like the structure of the line because I learned to write with lines, and there's just something about having lines that make it feel structured, and I'm not leaning, like some people's writing goes across the page unevenly like that. So I like lined books as well. So I ended up choosing this book, and it was between this one, this brand called Notem, it's Danish, and then Moleskine. And Moleskine was one that had like the lines, and then to the left had the like a blank space where you could write notes, so it was lined, then it had a little blank space, and at the bottom also blank space, so you could have your notes on the side, like if you almost like if you read a book and you had margin to write your notes, did that, you got the lines, and then at the bottom you had like margin to write. And so it was a pretty neat one. It was 2 for $26, but I was just kind of debating, like, do I really want like, do I really want the margin space and stuff like that? And I may still decide to get like that notebook, but this is the one that I'm gonna show you. So yeah, the Moleskine generally is my go-to. Like this is Moleskine, but this one is more like just lined, so it would look like this, but on this side there would be a space where this would all be blank, and at the bottom it would all be blank, and then this little corner over here has lines, and you can write it, and each day you could write a new date on it, and that's how it looks. I ended up getting this one, which is a completely new brand for me. It's the Swing Notebook Logical Air. It's a Japanese brand, Nakabayashi. So this is what it looks like. It's B5, which is the size. So international sizes uses like A and B, like A1, A2, A3. This B5. And then it's 80 sheets total. The book looks like that. So if you can see, the lines look like that. And then at the top, you can write like the date and your note, like your note about what this is about and stuff like that. So I chose this one. It was $6.99. And I haven't really used this book before, so I I was really curious to see if I would like this book, and I decided to give it a chance. So I plan on one sec. Okay, so the shower is about to go on because my granddad is in there. But I wanted to make sure he was like away from the door and stuff, like not potentially making a whole bunch of noise. But I just decided to get this book because it was cheaper than all the other ones. It's 80 pages. It has the lines that I like. So it has the structure that I generally like. And it's not that bad as far as it looks like that's how it's going to work. And then also how I use it is every class, I don't have different notebooks for any different classes. That's how you used to function in like high school and stuff like that, like different notebooks for different classes. And I just find that having one notebook for all my classes makes more sense. One catch-all notebook, class notes, calendar, publishing schedule, publishing ideas, random ideas that come to my mind. They can all just be in one book and I'm not confused, right? So that's kind of where I am. The other thing that I was considering was the ability for these books to lay flat. And so I got two different books to show you. This one, which is a Japanese also, and this one, which is a Japanese. And it's so funny because I was watching 60 Minutes, which is like a random show, and I grew up on it, but it's like news segments. But one of the segments was like interviewing Ina Garten and her new cookbook, and her new cookbook lays flat. And so they were explaining like when she made the cookbook, she was like, one of the key things was that it needed to be flat, right? Because when you're making food and you have a recipe book, you don't want to keep flipping through pages if the page you're on page 80 and then it keeps going to page 20 because the book is trying to go back to page 1, right? It doesn't sit flat. And so she worked with a Japanese designer to make the book flat so that the book doesn't flip its pages while you're trying to do the recipe. And that was also one of the decisions that I had about this book, was that it lies relatively flat. It's not 100% like this, but it lies relatively flat depending on where you put it, right? And I can flatten it out significantly if I need to. This one is kind of the same way. It's relatively flat. You can kind of fold it a little bit more and then it flattens out, and it's less of a struggle than other books that I've used. And part of the reason why it's more flat is because the spine is designed in a way that allows for that bending. It allows for the pages to bend. It allows for pages to be pushed flat. And that is like a Japanese design thing. So I was really between, like, in terms of functionality, this one and the Notem, which is the Danish design, because they also took, I'm not going to say they took from the Japanese design, but the Japanese, this book and that one were more similar. And so that one had the similarities of design, a little bit like this, but thicker, and it did lay flat too. And so I was up in the air, but that one was like $30, and I was like, do I really want that for a catch-all book? And so I just ended up getting this one. I probably will get the other design another time, but I really was just like, let's just get something cheap and go from there. And I'll look into what else they have from this company. But this is the book that I chose. I feel like I am going to now get pens that I like, because I have certain pens that I like. I like a really nice ball-pulling pen. I don't like there's pens are just a thing, okay? Like, I went to an engineering school. Pencils and pens mattered. Line thickness mattered. The weight of the line mattered because of the weight. The thinness of the point or the thickness of the point mattered. That's the shower. that matter. So yeah, I'm trying to get all of that together because I feel like I don't want to be struggling when school starts to kind of like get everything together. And I just want to be rolling with my stuff. So yeah, that's the book that I decided to use. Do you use regular planners still? Do you not use regular planners? Like, what have you found to be the cons or the pros of using certain books? And do you even use books? Like, do you just do a digital planner for your stuff? I just find that I'm a lot better when I write things down by hand, and I think it's just maybe a generational thing that a lot of older generations, unless you like really lean into tech, a lot of generations that are my age, around my peer and older, writing things is probably like better for us. And I feel like writing by hand is a lot better for me overall. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.